Hey there! In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit pre-made logo templates in Photoshop. You will learn how you can change the text, the colors, and the shapes in these pre-made logo templates. And I will also show you how to resize and export your final logo. So let's dig in. So first off, let's change the text in our logo. I want to change it to my own brand name. For this, we have to find the text that we want to change. We can either find the layer by going into the Layers panel, or we can just use the Type tool and click into that text. If you want to find the layer, you have to open the Layer panel. If it's not open yet, you can go into Windows and make sure that the check mark at the layers is there. Or, as I said, you can use the Type tool and just click on the text. Then you're able to change it. When you changed it, you just go and click on this little check mark up here. But what if I want to change some features of the text, like if I want to change the font type or the size, or I don't want them to be all caps? I click on it again, select it, and I go to the Characters panel. If it's not open yet, you can find it here, Windows, Character. It has a little A as an icon. Here I can change the font, and I can make it bold or italic. I can change the text size, the distance between two lines of text, and the distance between characters. I can also click on this little icon to remove the all caps. So let's keep it lowercase and make it bigger. 90 points. And I make the distance between two lines of text also 90, in case I write two lines of copy here. And let's make the tracking, the distance between two characters, 200. And I leave the color the same, but if I want to change the color of the text, I just click here and change the color like this. I can also change the paragraph features. You need the paragraph panel. It's right next to the character panel. And you can change the alignment from left to center or to right. But I leave it as it is for now. When I'm done, again, I just have to click on this little check mark, and my text is changed to my brand name and to the look that I was looking for. Now let's see how to change the colors of the logo. Let's say I want to change these dark burgundy red petals into purple. First off, I have to find the right layer that I want to change. Luckily, they are named petals, so it's easy to find them. There are several ways how to do this. Because this is a shape layer, the thumbnail has a little square shape in the corner. I can just double click on the shape layer's thumbnail here to get the color picker tool. Here I can just go and find the right purple I need, or I can type in my RGB or CMYK or hex codes. Another way to do this is to double click here on the layer, but not on the thumbnail, next to the name on the right side. I double click and I get the Layers type panel. And I can choose a color overlay. Let's say I want to make it purple again. And I change this blending mode from multiply to normal. Press OK. And I changed the color again, but in a different way. The good thing with this is if I want to have another layer with the same color, I can just right-click on the layer and say copy layer style, go to, for example, the seeds, right-click again, paste layer style. And this way, my seeds are also purple, the same purple. If you don't want to have this color overlay, you right-click and just say clear layer style. Here too, clear layer style. And last but not least, if your layer is not a shape layer, just a rasterized regular layer, so let's say we rasterize this petal layer, you see there's no little icon in the corner of the thumbnail. It's a regular layer. We can still use the paste layer style, and we have the changed color, or we can click on this little icon here to lock the transparency pixels and just get a brush. I press B to get my brush and I make it a bit bigger. Choose the color that we need and just color over. This way, on this layer, we only color the pixels that has something on them, and we don't color the transparent pixels. If this little icon is not selected and I start coloring, I color the whole artboard. If it's selected, then I only color the parts where I already have shapes drawn on. Now what if I want to have different colors for the petals? They are all on one layer, so I can go two ways. One is to turn it into a rasterized layer instead of a shape layer. Turn on the transparency pixel lock, and with my brush go over one flower with one color and the other flower with another color. So I just click and rasterize layer, lock the transparency pixels, get my brush and color this with one purple color and this flower with another purple color. But the problem with this and any other times when I turn my layer to a pixel layer, a rasterized layer, is that later on when I scale up my logo, I will lose the quality. So I just show you very quickly. I go into image size, and I size up my logo to double the size. And as you will see, my rasterized layer is more blurry than the leaves and the stem and the borders. All the petal layers are blurry, and this is not good for a logo. So instead of rasterizing it and color it with the brush, I go back and turn it back into a shape layer. I just pressed Ctrl Z until I got back to the original state. What I do is I duplicate this layer go down here and pull it onto this little icon here next to the trash bin icon. Or I can also just click here and say duplicate layer. And I name this petals color 2. I color it to a different color. And then I click on my direct selection tool and just get rid of all the petals that I don't need in this color. So I want this flower to be the, the lighter pink and this flower to be the dark burgundy. So here I delete this layer. I just click on the petal and press delete. Click, press delete, click, press delete. This way, here I see only my petals layer, and here I see my petals 2 layer. So again, I make this layer disappear and I delete the dark burgundy here so that I only have the light pink visible. And for this I make a mixed petal. So this will be dark burgundy, yeah, I delete this. And this way I have a mixed petal. One of the reasons why I like to leave my layers as shape layers is that it's really easy to change the shapes afterwards. And also, I can scale up my logo to even huge sizes without any rasterization and quality loss. So let's see how to change shapes. I just zoom in and I need to have my selection tool, my path selection tool. You can press A to get it. There are 2 types of path selection tools. There's the path selection tool and the direct selection tool. I use the path selection tool first. This is good when you want to move things around and maybe rotate them. I have to go on the layer that I want to change. So on the layers panel, I choose the leaves layer because I want to change this leaf. I want to rotate it a little bit. I just click on it, and as you can see, I have these little dots around it. These are the dots that define the shape. And then I press Command T or Control T on Windows, and I rotate it a little bit. And I move it around. Then I can just click on the check mark here. Now if I want to change the shape, I go and choose the direct selection tool and I click on one of the dots where I want to change the shape itself. I zoom in and I can just grab these little vectors or pull the ends to change the shape. This is exactly how it works in Illustrator, but as you can see, you can do the same thing in Photoshop. Only if you have shape layers. In our example, I find that the distance between my text and the frame is too big. I want it to be exactly the same as the distance between the flowers and the text. So for this, I have to go on the frame frames layer, which is the frame right layer. As you can see, if I make it disappear, I see it's the right layer. To move it, to change the shape, I go and click on it with the direct selection tool. I click on these little dots. I hold the shift so I can select more than just one. Then I start moving them. I can move it all around, but if I click on shift again while moving them, I can move it horizontally. Go a bit, zoom a bit out to see the distance, and yes, this is great. I'm satisfied with the result. Now my distance between the text and the flower is the same as the text and the frame, and this way the logo looks a bit better. So this is my final logo, and now I want to export it. But before we export, I want to crop off all the white space because I don't want to have it in my exported logo. I don't need that amount of white space when I want to put it in my website's header or as a watermark on my images. So for this, I click on the crop icon, or you can just press C. I select it all, and then I crop it around. When you get close to the logo, it actually snaps to the sides. And finally from the bottom, if I zoom in, you will see that it snapped to it, but you can leave a few pixels distance if you want. And I just click on the check mark. And now I want to turn off my background layer because I want my logo to be transparent in case I use it as a watermark and I put it on one of my images. So now I can export it, and I go to File, Export. I can go into the Export As, or I can use the Save for Web. First I show you the Export As. Here I can choose my file type, and I recommend you to use PNG because that keeps the transparency, or use SVG because that keeps it vector graphic. I use PNG for now, and you can define the image size. So here the height is 100 pixels, which is great because this is a great size for website headers. But of course I can change it to be bigger if I want to use it on, for example, on a poster and I need it in bigger size. Let's keep it at 100, and when I click on Export All, I can choose the name and the location for my file. I saved it, and this is how it looks. This is how it looks exported. I can also export it with File, Export, Save for Web. This is the best way to export it if you want to keep it on, want to use it on a website. So here again, you can choose the file type, and I recommend you to choose PNG24. And you can choose the size, so I make it 100. And again, just click on Save and choose the destination. And save it. And this is how it looks exported. So I exported the logo, and now I can use it on my website, on posters, as a watermark, on packaging, and all the rest. I hope you enjoyed this video where I showed you how to edit pre-made logo templates in Photoshop. If you'd like to practice what you've learned, just click on the image under this video to access this template. See you next week. Bye for now.